Winemaking's difficult because there are no right answers. It's an infinite number of possibilities and flavors, and it's a craft that will never be mastered. It's a journey. It's not just a product.
Hello, everybody, and welcome again to another edition of the Wine Stream with Palmaz Vineyards. I'm Florencia Palmaz, and joining with me today is my brother Christian Palmaz and sister-in-law Jessica, and actually a whole bunch more people pretty soon here. We're really excited. We've got a fun episode ahead for you. We've decided to share with you all some of our latest debut of the virtual tasting here at Palmaz Vineyards, and so scattered around the winery are some of our ambassadors going to log on and share with you virtually our place live. So bear with me. This may be a choppy episode, but it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Of course, as always, we also want to thank Lifesize Systems for being our platform and being enabling us to be able to do this every week. And finally, let's kick it off. Our number one thing that we were really excited to share with you are these cute little baby bottles. Our wines have had babies.
That's right.
It wasn't easy, but they sprouted little babies while everyone was away.
That's right. I mean, who knew splitting a bottle into three was going to be so challenging?
Incredible, but we did it. Leave it to Palmaz. We have figured it out. So first, before we get too far deep into this, I wanted to actually call up Sean and Teresa Letwack, who are our fabulous dynamic duo, who are our national sales team. It's a husband and wife team that came to the winery here today, and they're actually calling in from the gallery. G2 and G1, both of our main tasting rooms. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
So great to see you both. Yeah, I see you've got some baby bottles with you too.
We do. I feel like it's Christmas. I'm so excited about these.
Absolutely. I was just beginning. I introduced you both as our favorite. We actually dubbed them, and I'm going to get in trouble for admitting this on live on camera. But Sean and Teresa are known as our outside cats because they travel the whole
affectionately known as our outside cats.
They're affectionately known as the outside cats of Palmaz. They're practically family. Have been with us for, oh my gosh, how long? Sean, you started almost
2007.
Yeah, Nicholas is 12 years old. You started when I was pregnant with Nicholas, I remember.
Yeah.
And then, of course, as soon as I met you, I met Teresa and was like, oh, I need the other Letwack too.
You got us both.
Yes.
Family affair.
Absolutely. I mean, what's a family business without a family affair? So,
Exactly.
Teresa and Sean,
family affair.
Of course. So Sean and Teresa handle our national sales, and Teresa's focus is the West Coast, and Sean then handles the rest of the country because the West Coast is such an important market for us. And tell us a little bit about what you guys are thinking for these cute little baby bottles.
Well, we're so excited. I mean, when our lives all changed and we were talking about ways to integrate with our customers around, you and I had the conversation, whoever can really figure out a way to get multiple vessels inside of the customer's hands for them to taste live with us is really going to be what's going to really take this whole virtual experience to the next level. So, we know that we've got the technology side between what we do with Lifesize and the content that we can push and the video, and we can share all the great features about what the winery does, that we can share it in a better way than some of the other platforms might do. So it just really increases the experience for the customer. And now that we can get these bottles in front of the customers in their glasses, it's going to make it that much more of a better experience for everybody.
And talking with our customers, primarily, clubs like country clubs, tennis clubs, yacht clubs, just to mention a few, in addition to high-end retail customers, there's been such a demand on how can we bring a experience safely into their homes with wines where there's an opportunity to experience a winery if you haven't been here before, or to expand your knowledge.
And for those that have met Teresa and I around the country and seen, when we talk about the winery, obviously Great Wines is, they know us for having great wines, but they also know us when we do our iPad presentations that we're a very technologically driven winery. So this is obviously one aspect that we all feel very comfortable with in terms of engaging with our customers in these ways.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me explain a little bit the baby bottles, because I know we just sort of jokingly alluded to it wasn't that easy to have little babies be born around here, and it was true. Almost the week after the winery was shut down, we immediately started brainstorming here on the winemaking side of how do we actually get samples of wine to the customers' homes. And to be honest with you, we did quite a few failures, and we did quite in between both the legal side and then, of course, technically, we finally found a couple of different combinations. The biggest challenge for us was how do we break down wines that have already been bottled and aged for several years, right? Because we bottled these wines back when they were made several years ago, and even some library wines. But make sure that we actually transfer that wine into the bottle, keep it fresh, and have it fresh for the duration that you may then potentially be tasting it. So actually, Tina and her team spent a lot of time developing for us a very elaborate, completely nitrogen gas enclosed process to then be decanting wines in nitrogen into 750 mLs. That's actually Doug Mitchell, our assistant winemaker. These same bottles that you see us here with on our tables are in fact the winery's sample bottles that we use for barrel samples in the laboratory.
That's right. There was, and I think that's what was so successful, is that there was already a comfort with this size from our samples. But we've talked on the show about the level of sophistication that goes into the bottling system and everything that's sort of driven by that. And you have to sort of recognize what we're doing when we set these wines up. We're really looking for them to be able to last multiple decades. So to take it back to something that is in this form factor and get it out of the 750 without it ever touching oxygen, that was the trick. And so hats off to the team. They did a wonderful job. And, a lot of people were kind of asking, so, when are you guys going to kick this off? And, why haven't you started? And it's not. The truth is that it's not that easy. There's a lot of considerations so that we make sure that when you open one of these things in your home, that you're getting the same experience as if you opened up the 750s originally.
Exactly. And we wanted it to ensure that not only the current release Cabernet, which actually is a pretty hearty wine, would be fresh upon opening, but also all of our aromatic whites, which oxidize quite easily unless they're perfectly, bottled in a reduced environment, as well as give you the opportunity to see some of our past vintage Cabernets, which is such a signature of ours. So we've actually come up with a technology that is stable. We've tasted it and tested it for about 3 weeks now. We know that these are fresh for a reasonable amount of time for you to get them to your house, settle in, and then make your virtual tasting appointment to be able to taste with us. Or you could, opt to just taste on your own. But it's a great way to be able to just get a sample, get a sneak peek on maybe a new vintage if you want to taste, or a sneak peek on a previous wine. They're super exciting. So we came up with a whole line of virtual tastings. We started launching this about 2 weeks ago. The ambassadors, we set up these G1 and G2, our two main tasting rooms, with virtual video conferencing, and we've been having a lot of fun with it. So they've actually started. Almost 10% of our tours today are with people who are opting not to travel but still want to have some fun. You can have friends from all around the country dial in. And you can all join. We will ship out the packages of wines, the sample pack that you choose to taste with, out to all your addresses. We'll set up a convenient time for you, and then our ambassador will essentially greet you on camera, and you'll have your own private experience on this platform. It's interactive, it's high res, and it's a lot of fun, but there's even more, right? Sorry, I sound like an infomercial. We wanted it to be fun. Yeah, exactly. Wait, oh my God.
The issue is that, like we've all spent a little too much time in these Zoom calls now, And these you know, the problem is talking heads on screens is boring. And I'm sorry to say that. It's
boring.
It's so boring. And, you know, after doing a couple of these, you know, people were like, can you turn the camera? Can we go out? Can we look outside? They just wanted to catch a glimpse of that famous view that they know. And, and we said, you know what, this has to be able to leave the room. We have to be able to get up and go places and show the winery and let the conversation, like it does in the real tour, take you to different places. And so I never thought I would ever own one of these, but we now have lots of selfie sticks. And so, you know, this has been a thing now where we're starting to, you know, run around the winery and the ambassadors.
They become employee issued, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's part of the ambassador kit. It's now your company issued selfie stick. So I thought if you guys want, we can give it a little whirl.
Totally. Show it off. Right. Show us your selfie stick. Ooh. It's been a lot of fun, and we've seen actually it can be interactive, it can be silly, it can be fun, it can also be really serious, because you know, when we ship the flights, we'll be able to customize with you and really come up with whether you're interested in doing a deep dive in libraries, or you want to taste the whole portfolio, or if you want to just focus in on the Cabernets and taste through all the different Cabernets we make. So it's been a lot of fun. We've got a bunch of different combinations. So you know, we'll ship those out, and then, of course, you get a sneak peek of a pretty nice view, Chris.
Amazing, you know, and the flexibility to be able to move around and show off this incredible view here from level 4. I just love it, and you know, how can you beat that? That's you know, we're looking from here, kind of in the southeastern side of Napa, looking towards the Mayacamas on the on the northeastern side. So it's pretty wonderful. You can see the terraces, and nothing like a sunset shot.
Oh, but I think Trey's got the better view. Am I right?
I have one up to you on the
where
view.
are you at?
I'm at the highest point of the entire winery, up on level 5 on the crow's nest. And I would agree with you guys that this is a little bit better view than what Christian is dealing with down there. So you can see pretty much all of Napa behind me. This is looking north.
Wow. That's gorgeous.
It's a great day for this. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Just beautiful. So Trey, tell us, walk us through the mountain ranges. It's one of the cool features of of the crow's nest that you're at, is you can actually almost mark out every single major mountain of the east side of Napa. Can you point them out for us?
Yeah, that's so kind of right behind me is going to be 2 little knolls that separate us from downtown Napa. Just sit on the other side of those hills. You guys seen that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Perfectly.
And then on the other side of the valley, we're looking at the Mayacamas, which separate Napa and Sonoma. And then on the clearest of days, you can't really see it today, but at the very north end of the valley, you're actually able to see Mount St. Helena all the way from down here in Coonsville.
Yeah. And I can see that the signature clouds of Sonoma and the Bay are beginning to roll in, our signature afternoon fog banks coming in. I can see that off in the distance. Yeah, a few clouds.
Yeah, late in the afternoon, it's actually, it's probably the best time up here, even though it's a little toasty, standing against all this stone. You see the reflection off the water from the bay, and then Mount Tam really opens up, and all the clouds kind of dissipate, and it's stunning, which is awesome for people who come up from the city and people who fly into SFO, and you're like, you drove by that mountain coming up here. It was about an hour ago. Yeah.
It's beautiful. So
we're able to experience all that from the comfort of our couch in a living room, opposed to waiting in lines at an airport.
That's right. You're not subject to the sunburn that I'm dealing with right now.
There you go. Okay, we're not going to feel too sorry for you. So Chris, where are you now?
So I'm back in the winery now. So here, showing off our optical sorting system, and of course, for those of you who know, that means that we're up on the balcony and we have Felix behind us, right? So we're able to show off, of course, Felix fully, just like we would when we're here. I mean, we've shown it in of course, pictures and some of the three-dimensional fly-throughs that we've done, but there's nothing like seeing it in person. And of course, showing off the dome, all the carousel, and it's going to be really exciting here once harvest starts to be able to show off the whole system. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely, just gorgeous. I think it's really fun. You know, we've always been known for high tech. I mean, we thought that we were super cool and high tech when we integrated the Felix system, and I was always a little jealous for a while that you didn't integrate any high tech tools for the marketing side of the company. It was like everything was for production, but nothing for the sales side.
Well, and rightfully so. I think.
Yes, fair. Yes, sales takes a backseat to product. I completely understand, but so it took a pandemic for us to sort of invest and reinvent a little bit how wine is presented to customers, and it gives us an opportunity to armchair travel now.
Armchair travel.
Armchair travel, I love that.
I don't think United Airlines is going to be very happy with this whole decision, but to ground Teresa and I. But so if you've got stock in that company,
have a glass of wine. It'll be okay. It'll recover.
Yes.
Exactly.
Or two.
They'll be all right.
Or two.
Absolutely.
Or three.
So should we taste some wines?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I did have to jumpstart a little with the Chardonnay.
I was getting hot looking at Trey outside, so I felt like I had to, quench my palate a little bit.
Shall we virtually cool off? Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. So this is actually a sample of one of the flights of wine that we're offering. This is actually what we've called the library, and in the library is a 2018 Chardonnay, as well as a two vintage perspective, very much like you would have here in the tasting room, of the Cabernet. So we've got 14 cab, 16 cab, and then just to spoil everyone at home, because we love to share and just lavish everyone with all of our special goodies, the library also contains a little taste of Gaston. So, Trey, I love how you can just hopscotch all over the winery. Where are you now? That's gorgeous.
So now I'm subterranean. I'm down on level 2 in our wagon wheel barrel room, where each tunnel is essentially sand. So
cool.
We did a little bit of filtration today too. So all I'm smelling is brand new French oak and fresh red wine. So again, feel that.
That's the best.
So now it's turned into a sensual experience as well.
Maybe we should put like a little stave inside each package so you could get a smell of a wood stave.
A scratch and sniff.
The scratch and sniff.
The scratch and sniff, yes. So the red bands on the barrels. Trey, walk us through the red bands on the barrels.
Yeah, so they're really for kind of aesthetic purposes. When we're pulling wine out of here, nobody's perfect, even though we like to think that we are. So we're spilling all over the place. There's drops everywhere. So if we're staining the barrels, they're aesthetically a little bit more pleasing. And it kind of, I like it because it creates uniformity within the barrel room, and each tunnel kind of looks identical.
Cool. Wonderful. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing with us that is one of my favorite levels. It's that tight barrel shay and seeing it all, that 360. Give us another spin. One more spin, please.
One more twirl? One more twirl? You got
Give us one more twirl. It's my favorite floor. And just for a little bit of trivia on this floor, that's where we actually found a little bit of gold when we were digging. Very small, wasn't enough to actually become a commercial mining activity, but we did strike gold down on level 2. So I always tell my son that if we fail at the wine business a couple generations from now, if you go down, G2 in one of the hallways and bust open that closet, you may find more gold. But
I happen to know for a fact he has a gold digging pan.
He does. He's a Northern California kid after all, right?
Exactly.
Every Northern California kid's got a gold digging pan.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Trey, for sharing with us. We look forward to having you host tours like this in the future. And I know you've been having fun doing it now, and it's always great to see you with your selfie stick. Who'd ever thought that a wine penis selfie stick would become the new company issue equipment?
All right, thanks, Flo.
Awesome. Thank you. So back to wines. So like I said, this is a beautiful setup. Each one of these bottles has about 250 mLs of wine inside. That is the equivalent of 1/3 of a bottle. It is more than enough. If we were actually in the tasting room and pouring tastes, it would actually be the equivalent of 4 tastes. So we're saying that each one of these flights is more than enough for 2 people. It's a really generous tasting for 2 people, or it actually really could go up to 4 people. So if you have a group of people with your friends and then you want to send a couple other packages to other friends and make a real big virtual tour, it could be a really fun party and a nice gathering. And in an interesting way, we've been playing with the idea we could either keep them unmarked, so we are, for the convenience of everybody, I don't think you're going to be able to read this on camera, but every one of the bottles will tell you vintage, varietal, and then we are putting expiration dates so that we can really, make sure that we're tasting them at peak freshness. These are legal units of sale, so you got all the legalese, lots of fun. And if you want, we could also play with it upon request, making the vintages or some of the key information anonymous. Like we could just say vintage A. So you could have an opportunity to have a blind tasting with your ambassador. And then the ambassador would know, right? I love blind tasting.
What a fun approach. Yeah,
blind tasting for me is one of my very favorite games. It's an opportunity to really engage your mind and test your knowledge. And of course, it's so hard to do a blind, it's sort of useless to do a blind tasting of only one wine at a time. It's so much more fun to do them when you've got a lot of wines on the table. So it's something to have fun with. Of course, our entire team here is ready and available to chat with you along your setups. And we'll make sure to coordinate a really fun experience for you and your friends. In the meantime, we've got some yummy wines to taste through. We have here, like we said, 2018 Chardonnay. I do recommend that when you get white wines in, put them in the fridge just to make sure that the color stays bright. They are a little bit more delicate than the red wines because they don't have quite as many antioxidants in them. But they are perfectly fine for 15, 20 days after bottling. We will specifically write the expiration date on each bottle. And then for the whites, just leave them out in a cool, dark place and pour them straight. Ideal temperature for us is about 38 for long-term aging and 41 for serving. I know that sounds very specific. We're a very specific style winery. But honestly, if you kind of put them in your fridge, maybe 30 minutes before your tasting, then you'll be experiencing exactly what we generally experience, what you would experience here in the winery. Or if you happen to have a Eurocov or one of those wine storage units, it's perfect to store in there. So with this tasting, with the library tasting that we're talking about, we've got 14 and 16, an opportunity to taste these two side by side, and I was just tasting them before coming on camera, and they're just beautiful. Sean, Teresa, you guys taste these all the time. What do you think?
Well, as often as we taste them, it's still never enough, in my opinion. I don't know about how Teresa feels about it, but the 14 is just singing and dancing right now.
Beautiful.
But I think the opportunity to get 3 different vintages of Cabernet in front of our customers' hands, whether it be at a country club or an upper scale private retail tasting, that just really brings that whole experience to a different level.
And I think customers are craving this right now. Florencia had mentioned earlier, it's nice because these kits are customizable. We can do a variety of different things. So it's not like you have one of our kits and you've had them all. I could see someone, evolving with our wines. Maybe they start with, one of our entry level, and then they want to take it to a collector's level. So it really gives you an opportunity to experience what we do here at the winery. And it's almost, when people come and tour, I say the same thing. You can visit us once, but you can't see everything the first time. So an experience like this is unique in that we can delve further into the wines or dive deeper, however you want to say it. We can take you further into the mountain. We can show you more about the vineyards.
What's interesting, as I mentioned, we taste these wines basically every day. And I don't know when these specific bottles were packaged, but I cannot tell you that I noticed any difference.
Yeah.
And I think, for us in the wine business, we often say, 375s taste different than 750s and Magnums. And obviously that's more long-term aging, but this is a 14. And I can tell you that I noticed zero difference between this and how it normally would taste, which is fantastic.
That is for us the key, right? There's no point in offering this if we can't be able to ensure that the wines didn't, they kept up their integrity and they didn't degrade in making them. So Chris just put up for us so you guys can see the different options that we are making available for ordering. I think we're set up to be able to start shipping these next week. Our intro level is the tasting, which is a Riesling, a Chardonnay, and the Palmaz Cab. And honestly, $85. I mean, we've been going back and forth with the family. This is an incredible opportunity to be able to taste these wines that would, on a retail level, cost you, almost over $200. So this includes shipping. So it's $85 for the tasting, or you could taste through the whole portfolio, which is a Riesling, Chardonnay, Palmaz, Cabernet, and Muscat for $95. The library is the one that we're tasting right now that gives you a sneak peek of 14, and Gaston, that's $195 for the 4 bottles. And, if you think about it, dividing that by 4, if you have 4 people, really is much less expensive than coming here in person, and you save yourself all the travel and all the hotel, and you can have a really fabulous time with your friends. The other 2 that I'm really excited to be able to offer to people, particularly for our customers who are watching us on the wine stream, that know our wines well, have been following for a long time, is the opportunity to do a straight up vertical. 13 through 2016 gives you a nice deep dive on, sort of what we've been tasting like for the last decade almost, and for $225 to be able to taste through these wines that are highly allocated, not available, is really a great opportunity. And also it's a great opportunity for you to sort of check in on some wines that you've been collecting and you don't necessarily want to open a 750 bottle. And then finally the cellar dive. So this is a little bit of Chardonnay, and then still a nice vertical perspective of Cabernets, 14 through 16, 3 Cabernets. So they're all fun options. We're really excited to offer these. We just started this literally on Monday, and we just got the glass in and the labels, and we were so excited about it. We had to put this right up on the wine stream. We haven't even photographed it yet. It will be up on the website, or is it up already, Chris?
It is up. So if you go to palmazvineyards.com/visit, you'll see there's 2 sections to the visit page. There's the visit, come and visit us, which is what most people have done, of course. And then now there's a new visit virtually section, which highlights all of those offerings that Florencia just went through. And like Sean said, feel free to customize. I mean, this is an opportunity to dive into the cellar in ways that we have never been able to, because obviously, 1 bottle can now offer 3 of these experiences. And when we do break into some of these 750s and even some Magnums, we're getting prepared, depending on where the inventory is, we'll be able to make quite a few. And that's going to be a great opportunity for a lot of people to be able to try some of these vintages that we would never justify being able to open for the tasting room. It's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, and so this is not only available to the end consumers who are consumer direct here at the winery and are allocated in club members, but it is also available for partnership with retailers, country clubs, restaurants, just like Sean and Teresa were mentioning, their clientele in the trade out there. We can set up corporate sponsored tastings with retailers. And we will happy to do all the legwork. We'll ship directly to your customers. Sean and Teresa will put on a great experience for them virtually, and we look forward to having your customers enjoy our wines. In a new
we've
format.
been able to do some fun things, because not only, obviously for the wholesale side, but also for companies, right? We've actually been able to put on there's a lot of companies who are not able to, to travel and gather all their employees into one place for that annual gathering or celebration. And so they've been reaching out to us to see if we can do a kind of online experience for them. And it's amazing the cool things they're doing, whether it's from the food perspective, partnering with some of the charcuterie offerings that we've been partnering with. The cheese offerings are amazing, and music. I mean, we've been working with people who have been bringing in incredible bands and stuff. So, there's really no limit to this. This is a starting point, but whatever you have in mind, we are excited to help you put on.
By the way, Florencia,
Yes.
I know that I think that we forgot to actually mention one of the other things that comes in the package that would be included: the Marcona almonds and the chocolate covered cherries. Because obviously, who doesn't like to nibble a little bit while they're enjoying some great wines?
We are a food and wine driven home.
You are absolutely right, and I initially didn't mention it intentionally because I don't have it totally fleshed out. But you are right. I will be, because I can't resist. I want the full experience. I want to share the whole picture with our customers. So we will also be making pairing packages available, and I'm not quite ready to say what's in all of those packages. But you're right. Chocolate covered cherries and Marcona almonds are going to be in there, as well as some other goodies that we are finalizing and setting up now. And hopefully by late next week, I will have the accompaniments package. Will be like an add-on kit that you can, add on for a box, so that you can have some nice nibbles. Because of course, like you said, tasting these wines out of context without anything, oftentimes it's a different experience than tasting these wines in the context of what ultimately they're most commonly consumed as, which is, in the context of a meal. So yeah, good point. Good catch.
Absolutely. But you mentioned people being excited, or us being excited about these. I've spoken to some of our retail, our distributing partners, Republic National, Southern Wine and Spirits, and they're like, we deal with every winery in the world, but we haven't heard of anyone taking this approach yet. So I'm so excited about it, just because this, to understand who we are as a winery, you have to taste multiple things from us, and this gives us the opportunity, and then we can showcase
And see them as well.
And showcase the winery. So awesome. We're excited.
We are too. And so we look forward to sharing with these with you. We look forward to, if you are not traveling quite yet or hesitant to get on an airplane, totally understand. We are still here for you. We will see you virtually online soon, and we'll still be able to share a glass of wine together. So with that, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
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 Cheers, love.